My name is Norman Barton, and this is Oxford in America.
Hello, and welcome to this episode of Oxford in America. We're traveling along the southern edge of Tennessee, and we're also crossing back and forth into the states of Georgia and Alabama. But first, let's start with Alabama. We departed our humble campsite near the Pickwick Dam, perched on the Tennessee River, the dam being a relic of the Tennessee Valley Authority from the 1930s. No sign of civilization waving us off, not even a slightly apologetic "Welcome to Alabama" sign. Nevertheless, we pressed on along the Trans-American Trail, where the scenery does its best impression of being an untamed wilderness. Skirting the Lauderdale Wildlife Management Area, we encountered a parade of side-by-side utility vehicles. Imagine a safari, but instead of lions, you get a lot of mud and suspicious looks from men in camo trousers. The trail through northwest Alabama was short, barely 30 miles, before it shoved us back into Tennessee as if it was embarrassed to have us. But before that abrupt exit, we found ourselves swept up in a bicycle road race along the Natchez Trace Parkway. Oxford, ever the show-off, decided to lead the charge, and I must say, overtaking lycra-clad cyclists in four-wheel drive, perhaps not very sporting, but it was deeply satisfying. And across the finish line at the race, we were back in Tennessee. Our next stop in Tennessee was a bit more fun, and that was Lynchburg, Tennessee.
Yes.
And Lynchburg's famous for
whiskey.
There you go. Lynchburg's the home of the Jack Daniel's Distillery and also the home of the Tennessee Land Rover Club. We did pop into the Jack Daniel's Distillery Museum, and as part of the COVID precautions, when you came into the museum, they did a temperature check for health reasons. And when you got your temperature checked, if you checked okay, they put a little sticker on your shirt that says temperature checked and you're okay, which we all did. And when we came out, we had these stickers we didn't know what to do with. One of the things that Mike and I thought would be funny was monitoring Oxford's engine temperature was a key concern.
Always.
Yeah.
Always.
We did not want to overheat Oxford, and it was hot coming.
Yes.
So we thought we'd take our sticker off our shirt and put our little contribution to Oxford and put that little sticker next to the temperature gauge, temperature checked. I thought it was kind of stupid, but we thought it meant something to us.
And it's still there.
I think it's still there. Yeah, that's why if anybody ever sees Oxford in the future and you see a Jack Daniel's sticker, temperature checked, that's the history behind that sticker on Oxford. It was just when Oxford visited the distillery. One of the other neat features of the Lynchburg area was they had the little town of Lynchburg, and we had a small parade around the town square.
We did. We organized an impromptu parade and went all the way around the town square a couple times. We got a lot of looks and a lot of waves, which was kind of nice.
The Tennessee Rover Enthusiast Community, or TREC as they're known, joined us in town for the parade, brimming with anticipation. This was expected because we arrived late for our normal course of business. After the tours and parades, everyone gathered in the parking lot for a classic meet and greet, swapping stories and comparing the rugged Rovers. Of course, they couldn't resist adding a bit of flair to Oxford before lining up for all those important photos. Their beloved machines proudly beside the legendary Oxford, capturing the spirit of adventure that runs through every Land Rover owner, young and old. Before bidding Tennessee a final farewell, the Trans-American Trail gave us one last cheeky detour, this time dipping south into Georgia. Now, you'd expect a grand sign, perhaps something with peaches or Southern charm, saying, "Welcome to Georgia." But no, much like Alabama, Georgia rather forgot to roll out the red carpet. So naturally, we did what any self-respecting expedition would do. We made our own. It was glorious, sort of. But Georgia did redeem itself. Not with signage, mind you, but with something far better, a rendezvous with a fellow Oxford enthusiast. Yes, another brave soul who shares our peculiar passion. Proof, if ever it were needed, that Oxford fans are everywhere, even in places the welcome signs aren't.
My name is Norman Barton with Genesis Overland. I've been a rover owner and enthusiast for about 30 years. And with that being said, when I heard that Oxford was going to be doing a Cross America tour, I was ecstatic. So I followed along right from the beginning. And when I found out they were going to be coming through the South, I kept track of where they were going. I thought I was going to have to go to Tennessee to meet up with them, but luckily they ended up going about 15 miles north of my house. So I met up with the group there, took pictures with Oxford, and it was great. And went on a trail. The trail that we rode was actually part of the Georgia Traverse, and rode a section with them that day, and it was just a great day. It was a really exciting time being able to see Oxford and all the history that goes along with the whole project.
Once we said our goodbyes to Norman, the excitement didn't end. Georgia still had one more treat in store for us. It gave us a chance for us to show this state some of Oxford's speed.
Don't hammer down. Oxford is passing a tractor.
With Georgia in our rearview mirror, we set out to close out our last day in Tennessee. This completed our 4th week of the journey and a staggering 4,400 miles since we left Oregon. We continued down these dirt roads, forest roads through Tennessee, and our destination was this motorcycle camp on the edge of Tennessee in Tellico Plains.
Yes.
And it may shock you to know at this point, we still don't have our timing down well, and we're running a little behind, and it's getting late, and we end up driving after dark again, which normally is not a big deal. However, we're on these tight forest roads in the forest.
Yes, and with stream crossings.
With lots of stream crossings. Trees are kind of growing over, no moon, it's supposed to rain that night, and Oxford's headlights, back to the candle power.
Back to the candle power thing.
Oxford's headlights were doing horrible. And as we were entering these streams, some of them were fast moving, some of them were slow, a lot of them were quite wide. We had no idea how deep they were, and we wanted to make sure they were not too deep before we plunged headfirst into them, and Oxford's headlights weren't up to the task. Eventually, we stopped, and what did we do?
Found a good flashlight.
Mark Van Linton had a work light, a battery-powered flashlight work light in his truck, and Mickey.
And we had duct tape.
We duct taped it to the front of Oxford as a third Cyclops eye in the center of, and that battery-powered flashlight was better than our 2 headlights.
Yes.
And we were able to guide the last hour.
Yeah, got us through that stretch of stream crossings and narrow, winding gravel roads.
Eventually, we did arrive at our destination, Hunt's Lodge in Tellico Plains. We were greeted there by Steve Radicek and his wife, who've been waiting patiently for us for hours, as you do when you're dealing with Land Rover journeys. We made camp and cooked dinner, where Steve gifted us with cold beer in exchange for some tales from the trail. But the next morning we woke up, we got to meet the camp proprietor.
Yes, very pleasant folks.
And her pet ducks.
That's right, I'd forgotten about the duck. And we sat there on the porch and talked, and the duck walked her all around us on the porch.
That wraps things up for this episode. Join us next time where we venture into North Carolina and explore things like the Land Rover experience at the Biltmore Estate and travel on the famous Blue Ridge Parkway. Join us next time on Oxford in America.